Hello and welcome back to the Shmuseum. Back again at home. And Tom, we've got a very exciting car arriving today.
Very exciting.
Like, exciting. We've had a few guest cars to stay for extended periods since we've had this as a location. But today's is one with a lot of personal attachment. We are going to be receiving very shortly Max Cooper's, the founder of Gumball 3000, Jaguar XJ220 S. We're going to be talking a lot about this today. We've got a few other things going on as well. In fact, the garage is looking quite full at the moment.
It really is. It's actually quite nice, and it's quite a change because it's been looking quite empty lately, especially whilst you've been away.
Absolutely, and we've got, a couple of other random cars joining the garage. I love that we've got everything now from the E500 Estate and the Clio all the way up to this lot, and very shortly in the empty space we're going to have the XJ220. So a couple of things to catch up on. We've got some new CTEK smart chargers that we're going to be talking about later on. We've got the XJ220S arriving, and I might have picked up a couple of other things that I'd like to show you in today's episode. So the car should be here very shortly. We'll get it unloaded, we'll get it brought inside, and we'll talk all about it. I know I say this too often, but yes, we are working on plans for what happens after outer gazebos. But as we get to summer and things are a little bit warmer, I don't know what we'll do. Maybe we'll change it up.
I don't know, yeah.
It kind of works for now.
It's just become like the thing. I think it'd be quite weird without the gazebos now, really.
Yeah, this is like my office corner. All of the Lego, still more to be built, and there's a notable absence of the new Ultimate, the Daytona SP3, so I need to work on that ASAP.
I assume you're getting that.
Yes, we'll certainly have that. You've also picked up quite a few more Clio parts and things.
We do have a pile of parts down here ready for the V6 project car.
And there will be a full update. So basically, I think it's fair to say we're holding fire until we've got everything, and sourcing parts right now is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So as soon as we've got everything, it's back to SG Motorsport, and it's going to be a full update and full strip down and full works begin.
Yeah, as you said, parts are quite difficult to get hold of now anyway.
Yeah.
And then parts for a Clio V6 are quite difficult to source also. So you put those two together, hasn't been the easiest thing in the world.
And the funny thing for me is, I can't wait to drive it.
No.
I've only once in my life driven a Clio V6, and it was in central London for like a mile.
Well,
Doesn't count.
Given the parts that we're currently putting together, and I'm not going to spoil too much, it's fair to say it might not be a completely standard OEM Clio V6 by the time I'm done with it.
Better without being crazy.
Yes.
That's the plan, at least.
OEM plus, shall we say.
And the other thing I'm wondering is whether the addiction to changing stuff is going to mean we change something on the E500.
I mean, it is a bit quiet, shall we say, if you see where I'm going with this.
It's a Mercedes estate. It's not supposed to be loud.
But it's a 5-litre V8, which is supposed to make a noise of some description, which currently kind of doesn't.
Anyway, we should probably stop waffling because we know the trailer is going to be here in about a minute or two.
Although we probably should address one thing, which is Brad's not here. He should be stood where I am, really and truly.
Yeah, Brad's not here at the moment. Hence, Tom is on the camera, and I'm going to try and share this car with you guys today. So, yeah, in it comes any moment now. I'm coming upstairs, firstly, because the view is always epic. It's getting even more colourful than ever, even though there are a few cars missing at the moment, which we will work on, and then we'll have some more lifts soon also. But I want to come and touch on my collection of maxi swatches that I've shared with you guys before, but now have most of them out, except I've gone and bought a few more that I'll probably unbox a little bit later because it's quite fun just to have the whole set out. These are the ones I've picked up recently, and at some point I'm going to need to work out where in here all of these can be mounted. I'll need a wall for it. Maybe over there, maybe something up here when we've got the office space set and all ready. I'm not entirely sure, but I have a bit of an obsession with these things, and there's more of those and plenty more to do with watches over on the Swatch 150 channel, if you haven't checked that out yet already as well. Exciting times, Tom.
Very. Here is the XJ220.
In there. We'll get it unloaded in just a moment and reveal all to you guys. Here we go then. Moment of reveal. The XJ220S. There's a whole lot to talk about with this one, which we will touch on as we pull it into the Shmuseum and explain all. Well, Tom has the honours of rolling the Jag out of the trailer, delivered here with DST, SS Transport. Gonna get this touched down. There's a lot to take a look at for the S. The headlights, the wheels, lots of weight savings. We'll nerd out about all of the details when we get it inside in a moment. It's got a glass roof also. That's quite cool, and obviously all of the aero changes that they did with the car. XJ220. touching down, ready to be loaded into the Shmuseum. Wow, that sounds immense. Let's get this inside. In rolls the XJ220. 3.5 litre twin turbo V6. That sounds mega. I wonder where Tom's going with it. I'm not entirely sure. Kind of want to just leave it in the middle for the moment. Right, let's go pack up the transporter outside and then come back and take a look at this properly. We need to talk about this and what makes it so special. Now, obviously, Tom, I've been following Gumball and involved in Gumball for longer than you have, but back in the early days, I think even you know this car.
Oh yes, it's definitely quite a famous one.
Like, the Gumball is obviously the most infamous rally in the world. This is Max Cooper's personal car that he's driven a few times on the rally.
Which is crazy, I might add, to drive something like this on the Gumball rally.
Yeah, I've actually filmed it at Gumball HQ before. They used to have a little storage area, now use that space for team meetings and things. But this particular XJ220, it has quite a story. I mean, the XJ220 was one of the supercars of the 90s. This is an XJ220S. There were 6 original XJ220S's at the time. There were a couple of race cars as well. But this was actually done by Don Law Racing back in the 90s after the original run. So it started life as an original XJ220. And this is the era with McLaren F1s and Bugatti EB110s. But this car in S specification is only 1,080 kilos, so it's lighter than the others, and it has 680 horsepower as opposed to 550, so it's even more powerful. Which is, yeah.
Sorry, I'm slightly gobsmacked by those numbers. I wasn't expecting it to be that light.
That light and that powerful, because it's a huge car. It's massive.
It is.
Basically, they use carbon fiber reinforced panels for the bodywork, so they replaced the whole bodywork. They got rid of things like the pop-up headlights, so saving the weight of the motors and the systems by just having an open headlight with perspex.
I thought something looked very different about the front, and I couldn't place it.
One of the biggest things. And then all of the aero, as you come around towards the back, obviously giving it this fixed exposed carbon spoiler up at the top of the rear. Completely different body panels. This is obviously the 3.5 litre twin turbo V6, and the interesting thing about that is that's also a 3.5 litre twin turbo V6 that's come out about 25 years later and makes slightly less power than that one does.
I suspect, though, that probably has slightly less turbo lag than this one would.
Very, very different configurations, very different setups. Have a quick nosy inside the car. We've got the bucket seats, racing harnesses, obviously manual, but these things could go very, 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 very fast. You know, the XJ220 was well over 200 miles an hour back then. And to have, you know, the racing conversion effectively for the road car makes it even more special. And as you were saying, to have driven this on Gumball, that's one of the mad things.
It's a bit crazy.
It is. I didn't realize until now, though, that it actually has a glass roof, the roof panel. They could have saved even more weight by getting rid of that.
Yeah, and that's weight that's up high as well.
Yeah. Obviously, you like glass over the engine bay. We're going to need to work out how to plug this into a CTEK.
Yes, because I don't think we have any idea, if we're being completely honest. I don't even know where the battery is.
No, I might need to drop Max a message, because to open the front clam, for example, it's all the racing latches. We're not going to remove all of those. I think there are probably 6 latches.
Oh, wait, so it doesn't open, it completely removes?
Lifts off, yes, it removes.
Okay.
Weight savings, right?
This is pure race car.
Even things like the towing eye right there at the front. It's funny to think that, you know, race spec road cars, like the Senna now, for example, aren't actually anything like as extreme as something like that was 25 years before.
No, I mean, the Senna has lift and it's adaptive suspension. It might not be the most comfortable in the world, but at least you can soften it off. This is just, it is what it is.
And talking lift, it's even got the wooden blocks here because it doesn't have lift. It's got motorsport style wood underneath the front splitter.
So if you do scrape it, you scrape some wood.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. I love those kind of details. I mean, the Senna actually has wooden blocks under it too. I don't know if you've ever seen those.
It does, yes. I think we saw that when we went to visit it at McLaren.
The ultimate challenge. They're back here because that's where it's lowest. It's going to be impossible to see that on a camera, but it does have wooden blocks right underneath there. But you know, this is going to be resident here for a while. And for me, having seen this in various different Gumball liveries and designs at the rally start, at different events, wearing various, obviously, different color schemes, it's interesting to see it back in the full gloss white because this was actually repainted back in the 90s. It started as a silver car.
As most of them did, I think.
And it became Don Law Racing White, I think it is, back then, which kind kind of makes sense. You know, the XJ220s were raced by TWR, and this is a beast. This is a heavily undervalued car, I would say. You know, McLaren F1s are tens of millions. EV110s are now a couple of million. These aren't, and I don't really know why.
Yeah, because it's in that same era of, I guess, hypercar at the time. That term wasn't around.
Supercar at the time, right? Supercar was the term for these kind of cars back then. Hypercar has evolved really with the Bugatti Veyron.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of the start of the hypercar. But you know, you look at this thing and 500,000, something like that is I believe, the right kind of range. There aren't that many of them. It was the fastest car in the world at one point. The XJ220 is a very, I think, misunderstood car, and it was very misunderstood at the time, because remember they made all of these promises about the engine and that side of it, and then delivered it with the twin-turbo V6.
Was it not meant to be a V12,
yeah,
if I
and
recall
people
the
and
story?
customers were kind of like, that's not what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Kind of, I think, in some ways, the modern equivalent, dare I say it, right now, until it's been understood, is the AMG 1.
Okay.
Is the AMG 1 what it's supposed to be? That's what this was back then. Perhaps more so, more extreme, because customers had fixed deposits and it was a complete chaotic mess from what I understand. But it's so awesome. So we probably need to get it started again. You've maneuvered it in. I'm going to maneuver it, because I think I'm going to park it over there somewhere next to the
And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, because being as old as it is, I expected it to be quite a difficult clutch and quite tricky to move, and I found actually it wasn't too bad.
I drove one on the roads, but probably 7 or 8 years ago now.
Okay.
With Simon Furlongers, I drove a regular XJ220. So I don't really have in my mind what it's like. The only thing Max said is don't do too many burnouts.
I mean,
does that mean we can go?
And that means we can do some. When that's the only rule a man gives you, you've pretty much got complete freedom.
Well, I'll drop him a message to let him know it's safely arrived, and to ask how we plug it in. But first, let me just swizzle it over there and just get a small feel for it.
Well, then, time for another startup.
Oh, yeah.
Now, one thing I did notice is not the easiest thing to get in and out of, so let's see how you get in.
That's the door at full width.
Yeah.
It's a pretty tiny aperture. And then
the roof is quite low, so you've got to get your way around that. Do you know, that was quite graceful, sir.
I'm smaller. It helps.
Yes.
But even I have my hair on the roof.
Okay, so at least it's not just me on this one.
Even I can feel my hair on the roof. This is tiny, and the seats are really snug.
Yeah. They're actually really quite nice, though.
How do you move the seat forward?
You've got a bar at the front of it.
Gosh, it's minuscule in here. How is a car this big but has no space inside it? You've got all the gauges on the door as well, which is quite fun.
They move with you.
But again, they changed the whole interior to Alcantara, you know, back in the 90s. That's really cool.
So you've actually got a bit of a usable shelf back there as well, though. So I can see how this could be used as a Gumball car, because it's got some space.
Support cars, that's the way to do it.
Anyway, time for a startup.
Let's do this.
Oh, that sounds good. You can just hear those turbos whistling. Now let's see how he exits the car. Nicely done, sir. Nicely done.
Not too bad, not too bad. How are we parked? Yeah, that's quite nice. That works. I like that. It's my turn to take a little listen from outside. The turbo whistle's really cool. Tom was saying I had to hear that. Oh, look at that. Old school. Seeing everything moving around. What a cool car. What a really, really cool car. Now in the line, alongside the GT in the centre. I like that. That's a good look. For people who like battery charging, this is like as good as it gets.
It's Christmas, right?
It's literally Christmas. So as many of you guys will know, we are partnered here at the Shmuseum with CTEK. We rely upon CTEK smart chargers on every car in the entirety of the garage. Some manufacturers provide them with the car, others don't. For example, here we've got the lithium solution for the GT Black Series. We've also got a lithium one for the GT8. For other cars, like the Heritage RS, we have a non-lithium, and that's where there's now an easy solution.
There is. There is now the CS ONE, which it doesn't matter whether you have lead acid, AGM, lithium battery, it knows, it works it out, and it just does what it needs to do.
So the latest smart charger, battery charger and maintainer from CTEK is this new CS ONE, which if I just try and open this box, I've done this the worst way possible. I should have asked your help.
Yeah, should I just, okay, we've got it.
This is the new CS ONE. Effectively, you can use it, as Tom mentioned, on anything. So we're going to be upgrading the chargers, because what we do at the moment is move around the different chargers from one car or to the next position when cars go to different places. But now we're going to be able to rely upon these for any car in any spot.
And another beauty of the CS ONE is you'll notice both clamps are black. There's not one red, one black, because it has reverse polarity. So you can put them any way round, and again, it works it out.
It makes it super easy. So some cars, like the one, for example, that comes with the Ford GT, this is a dedicated battery charger for the car with an algorithm and a calculation for the specific battery that's in this car. So that will obviously be retained by it. But with the Astons and the Mercedes, we don't have specific chargers for those cars. This is the latest, cleverest solution.
Yeah.
And basically, it's going to make our lives even easier to not have to worry about what we've got where and getting everything right.
But we do have another problem, briefly, with this, which is that things like the Aston Martin GT8 are on a 12-volt connector. Now, clearly that isn't a 12-volt connector, and that's where the adapter comes in, because you're able to then plug that into there rather than the clamps, and we can then connect it to all of the old accessories we have with the lithium chargers, the MXS5s, the MXS10s. So there's no need to upgrade all of those.
So we can reuse all of the connectors we have, because you've put some O-rings on some of the car's batteries.
Yeah, so some of them are on quick connectors, some are on O-rings, some are on the 12-volt socket, some are on clamps. There's a combination of everything depending on battery location, manufacturer, specifications, etc. So that's where these make that all possible with the CS ONE.
So our job right now then is to work out exactly which ones we're doing, to work out how to get the XJ220 onto one, because of course battery conditioning is absolutely imperative when you have cars that aren't driven all that frequently, to make sure they're good to go on the button, and upgrade our charging equipment.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a case of I take one side, you take the other, and let's see who gets there first.
Let's get cracking on with it. As simple as this, old charger unplugged.
Yep, CS adapter cable into the CS ONE, and then just like magic,
that clicks in.
That works with all of the old accessories.
This comes and plugs in to our extension just here.
Yeah. And let me pull this out so it's nice and visible. And I tell you what I'm going to do, you're going to hate me, but...
No, I enjoy that.
There we go. Ooh. Very satisfying.
Very nice. The way it illuminates just to let us know it's gearing up. There we go.
Yep, that means it's just working out what battery it's connected to, where the connectors are, etc.
It's basically calculating everything.
Yep.
And now it's running.
And
now it's good to go. Simple. And they're all super smart. Oh, look at that. Lovely. That's what we need. Right, so let's go around and do some shuffling and get all of these in place. The swap over is going well. We're quickly building up a supply of spares. That's the one for the GTC4 Lusso, which will go back onto it when it's back here. This, for the DBS, literally plugs in to the 12-volt socket that we have just inside here. I say that, but a little bit awkward. Goes down there, carefully does it. This will now make the connection. Job done, nice and easy, just like that. Perfect. It's super easy. We need to do the Vantage Roadster next. If we come up here, we've got a few in play. Using the extensions means that when the lift goes up, we've still got the extra cable space that's needed, basically. Same here with the C, having the extension now with an installation inside the boot of that. But yeah, all very easy, all super smooth, and on we roll. So it's quite fun. Just have to remove the extension because we need to use that. Take this out of the way for the time being, and we'll get on to the next one. We've got a cobweb here that we need to get rid of. Yeah, just pop these away, and on we go. This is super easy. And then,
final step.
Presto.
There we go, and then
I like that the leads are slightly longer on the CS ones as well.
Yeah, it's another added benefit is that if you are just using the CS ONE, you do get a little bit more length out of it. So,
which here was something we always had a little problem with because the socket in the Vantage Roadster is a touch too high.
Yes.
And meant it was always pulling. Anyway, that's neat and tidy. We've got some of these we need to pop away.
Yeah.
But yeah, making good progress.
We've actually recovered a few of our extension leads as well because of the extra length of those.
Which is helpful when we have additional lifts coming because we need the extensions for the cars that go up top.
Yes. So here we have quite the pile of CTEK boxes, and I think you found quite a neat solution for all of the spare stuff
Basically, yeah, because obviously around the corner there we have the EV charger, the Charge Storm connected to. We've got the boxes here for the cables, because you can charge 2 cars at once, and we keep those cables on the AMG GTR wheel, but they did actually come with these carry cases. So we're now using these carry cases for all of our spare other CTEK chargers, the MXS5s and the lithium ones. And before you ask, we do need them because we have so many other cars that aren't here right now and other cars coming. We're definitely going to be getting through some of those. We have a couple of CS1s left at the moment, and we haven't yet worked out the Jaguar, so we do need to work that out. But we're being efficient. We're clearing out, well, this much from the storage room, which is helpful for the time being. Yeah, so I'm going to get these zipped up, to be honest.
I guess they just go straight back on the CTEK shelf we have dedicated in the storeroom.
That makes life quite easy, to be honest. Just throw these somewhere.
I've got to say, it was quite a genius idea by you there.
We'll pop them up in here because we've got some other things as well. The CS3, which is of course the battery charger, so that you can rescue a car if you don't have access to a socket. We've got various other accessories and things around as well. And crucially, I'm a big fan of these. We've got the Pros. Now the CTEK Pros can kind of inject some life back into a battery that's struggling.
Yeah, if a battery has died, that will bring it back to life, as we kind of proved with the Clio V6, even though it was too far gone in the end. But
we've done that with a number of my cars over the years.
Yeah.
When, you know, there was one time, for example, in my old storage, when the GTAs, the switch behind it had got turned off. Somebody had literally gone in and just switched off the switch. I was away for ages, so when I came back, it was completely done for. Ran out on a Pro for a while, and it was like a few hours later, it was running again.
And it's still the same battery it's running on.
And that was 3 years ago.
There you go. So just proof it works.
Yeah, big shout for that. So we've got a lot of rubbish to get rid of. We need to go solve the Jaguar issue, but we're making some good progress. This is a very efficient day. We like it. We've found the solution, and because the car isn't going to be here for too long, what we're actually doing, because this is how a few people have told us, is in here on the parcel shelf. You'll need to turn on the torch for this.
Okay, hang on.
Magic
Where is
button
that
on the side
button?
of the camera.
That one there. There we go.
Back here is a kill switch.
So that just kills power to the battery?
Basically, there's an access to the battery terminal there. You could put the clamps on. We could use the magic black clamps, but in this case, we're just going to leave it off, lock up the car, and job done. Magic. Super simple.
This is what happens when you have access to a phone book full of people that own XJ220s.
Yes, we're very lucky. So I am going to take the camera upstairs to go and geek out for a minute. As I make my way up here then, that view is so cool. We actually have, I think, 18 cars in here at the moment, including the F1, which is slightly cheating, I know, but we count it as a car because it takes up the space of a car. And that's a very, very cool view. I think Tom just closed the office door. It's not really a door, is it? The curtain from the gazebo. Anyway, I want to open up some of these. So bear with me a moment. I'll get these unpacked and we'll grow the collection. Fast forward, more boxes and a complete line, including the 5 new maxi swatches. Yes, we've got the bright yellow, the baby blue, the dark red, this tartan style, and the green stripes and crazy hypnotic patterns of that one. I really actually quite like these two. These are really nice. And also are the plain coloured ones. So yeah, this is certainly going to pose a little problem when it's time to hang all of these on a wall somewhere as we go through. Yeah, maybe that became a bit too much of an obsession. But anyway, they're quite fun. And that's basically what this place is about for me. It's about being fun, about having the opportunity to do things like this and just go for it and say, why not? And have the mixture. So now those are unboxed for the time being. At some point, I'm going to need to put all of these back in their boxes until we've worked out where exactly they're going to go. But hey, it's all part of the fun and games here at the Shmuseum. And it is so cool looking down at the XJ220S. That's mega. That's really, really, really nice. And gives a bit more of an idea of what it's like when it's a little bit fuller as well. We'll only have the 3 cars here, where the 4 are at the moment. But the plan is for the layout roughly like that, with 1 more obviously there, and the Mini's kind of right back in the corner. That would sit a little bit further forward down the line also. And yeah, we get an idea of what it's going to start looking like in here. Back over this way, over towards the cars. Obviously we've got our bit of an outlet. I did not see you coming there at all. That's the quick way to get around the Shmuseum. Yeah, exactly that. Hop on the scooter. things that happen here, you just absolutely never know. This is all the idea of where our kind of track layout's going to be through the middle. Not finalised at all, but you need just enough space to be able to manoeuvre the cars to the lifts. I suppose long term, depending which ones are where. Yeah, it feels good. I think we'll set this up as our cleaning corner. That's all going to come. We've got our charging corner. When this is storage, it will be slightly shorter than where that comes to, obviously to make a little bit more space for a car right here. But for the time being, things here are feeling pretty under control. I think it's fair to say that that has been a pretty successful day. We've got all of the cars changed over to the new smart chargers from CTEK, and it is a big thanks to CTEK for being part of the Shmuseum. Without them being part of this adventure, it probably couldn't have happened. So a big, big, big thanks. And to be honest, for keeping all of the cars alive, because you need smart chargers if you're not driving your car ins and outs to keep the battery in tip-top condition. But also, we now have a new visitor. We have Max's XJ220S. We've had a couple of cool cars come for an extended stay here at the Shmuseum, the likes of the Gunther Works. We had the Novatec 812 GTS. We also had the 1968 911L. And now we have a hypercar of its era, the Jaguar XJ220S, which is blending right in. I think it looks the part right here, and as I've said enough times, gives us a view of how things are going to shape up as well. So a busy but got a very quick and smooth flowing day, I think, here at the Shmuseum today. But that's pretty much it. Until next time.